How do you overcome speaking anxiety to close a deal when you're pitching to investors?
Yeah. First of all, you have to tell yourself it's not about me. It's not about me. I tell businesses all the time, or brands that I work with, why are you even doing business? And your profession is not the same as your business, right? If I ask you what your profession is, you may be like, I'm an accountant. That's your profession, but that's not your business, right? A lot of people, Shad, don't know their why. And because of that, why would I give you 100K if you don't even know why you get up every day to do what you do? Right? So, how do you overcome it outside of the mindfulness and everything that I've shared? Is you have to know when I get on that stage, it's not about me. I am doing a disservice to people who should have my solution. And every single time that I allow speaking anxiety to take over, it allows me to forfeit my why. Do you understand? Sometimes you have to step outside of the business and the practicality of saying breathe and stuff like that and go to the mental. Why are you doing this? Why are you on the stage? Uh, so I would start there as well. Everything else that I've shared already about the practical things that you need to do, but also too just knowing that you deserve to be in the room. I tell people all the time, never waste a show up. Never waste a show up. And I'll say this to anyone that may be pitching. You may not win that 100K. And I don't know if the camera's here. You may not win that 100K, but the fact that you stepped on that stage, you don't know who your next connection will be in the audience. You don't know if one of the judges may come to you and say, yo, you didn't get that 100K, but I still want to work with you on the side. So never waste a show up. If the opportunity is there for you to do it, then do it and prepare yourself for that. So to overcome that speaking anxiety, you have to keep showing up. Get to more pitch competitions. Don't just wait for the main stage, right? Find what are all the local pitch competitions or pitch matches in your city and show up to them. Pitch in rooms. Go in the marketplace in InvestFest or any room conference and just start speaking to people and let them know who you are, what you do, who you serve, and what's the payoff, which is the solution. And that's going to help you really practice how to overcome speaking anxiety for anything, including InvestFest.
What's the difference between pitching to like investors
Mm-hmm.
and privately and speaking on stage and pitching? Like,
Yeah.
is it a difference, or is it like one is more, personal and that
Yeah.
communication one you just speaking to a wide audience? Like, what's the difference between like that?
Yeah, there are different types of pitches, right? So other types of pitches, that there are investors that are looking to match with companies. And sometimes too, it's not just the small businesses looking for money. There's investors that will have speaking anxiety that don't know how to pitch to others, right? So for example, I was at an event and there was a billionaire on stage. He's a fund. He raised all this money, like $1 billion, and he was on stage trying to say who he is to all these business owners, and he was so nervous he clamped up, right? So when it comes to the difference between being on stage and then being personal, there's different types of pitches. I would say if you can manage the stage, then you can manage the private, but you'll be surprised, Shad, how more people are more nervous in personal pitching than on stage. It's amazing to me how just both of you all sitting here, somebody can literally clam up, but then they get on stage, they're like fine. And I think a lot of that is just, like I say, the sympathetic mode and all of the things that go through our head that we think that we're not good enough. What if they think I'm a fraud? What if they think I'm a failure? But I would say it varies.
How do you work on bridge words and like that's I realized that that's when people are thinking too fast
Yeah.
and they can't, so they use words like or they help pause because they're trying to actually catch their brain up with the
Yeah.
words that they're trying to say. So that's very common for people
Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah.
How do you help people get over that?
Breathing techniques. So one of the things that I teach is take the breath. What happens, the mind or the brain catches up to the next word. So it's something you have to practice. It's not just something that just happens. So let's say, like, even now I'm speaking to you, I'm slowing down, but I'll stop, and then by that time I already know what I want to say. So one of the simple ways to actually combat the ums and the ahs is to actually do the pausing, slow down, take a breath. The brain will catch up. Definitely.
This is a part that, again, will come down to the four people that are selected or four groups that are selected. There might be a Q&A session. How should they approach this? Is it important to call the judges by their names? Like, what are the techniques now that you've gotten to a point where it's a Q&A inside of a pitch?
Yeah, depending. I think you have to be able to read the room. You're going to find some judges that are very welcoming and warm with their faces. So that allows the person that is actually pitching to feel warm. They mirror. You may find some pitch judges that are more stoic, right? And more to the point. And sometimes it's like, okay, we just mean business. What I tell a person all the time is be your authentic self, right? No matter if a judge is not looking at you. Some people think that because a judge is not giving you eye contact that they're not interested. That's not the case. So when on stage, and especially when it comes to the Q&As for investors, little plug, I do have something called the 10 questions that all investors ask. I want to actually give a gift to you all for your audience. I'm going to give a freebie out, which is a checklist for pitching. And it also has a bonus of 10 questions so they can start to prepare. But I do know that when it comes to those questions, preparation is key. If you know ahead what are the primary questions that will happen, you'll be more prepared to answer those questions with whether it's a stoic judge or a more, welcoming judge. I think that preparation is key for that.
So how much of it is just natural ability?
Yeah, some people are just natural. I have some mentees of mine that just have a knack for speaking. Some of it's natural, but they still sometimes need to be honed in because sometimes they can have this natural aura of speaking, but they ramble, or they have a natural aura of speaking, but they go off topic, or they don't stay to the key points. And one of the things that I say to those people that are super extroverted and they're going on stage, you still have to make sure that you reel it in so that we can understand exactly, and you're here for a reason. I've seen it on both ends of the spectrum, right? For those people that have that natural knack. I think Neo has a natural knack for speaking, right? But ever so often Neo's asked me questions like, Shayla, what should I do for this? What should I do for that? Right? And I think it's always important for anyone that has that natural ability, just like any basketball player. Some of these kids just have a natural ability to play street ball, but that doesn't mean they're ready for the NBA, And so because of that, not because a person has a natural ability to speak means that they just be wild as a speaker, still get coaching. Right. So especially if you want to be taken seriously, but also too, if you're really wanting to close those multi-million-dollar deals, whether it's in real estate, whatever it is, or you want to be taken seriously as an actual renowned speaker, get polished.
How concise should the presentation be? We've seen people who've pitched and they've had paragraphs up there, and then we've seen people who have had a few bullet points up there.
Yes.
Which one makes more sense, or does it depend on the person and their comfortability when they're presenting?
Yeah. It depends on the time.
Okay.
Yeah. For example, one pitch competition I did, we told them it was a 2-minute pitch. They were going 6 minutes. That's another mistake too. If you're given an allotted time, if it's 60 seconds, pitch in 60 seconds. And a 60-second pitch is easy. Who are you? How much money you're looking for? Where do you want to put the monies? How the money's going to grow? In what time? What's the call to action, and what are you looking for, and how is going to be the return on investment? It can happen in 60 seconds, right? But it's really the time.